Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. Today we are going to talk about using DBATools to test restore your SQL Server databases and run CheckDB on them on a server that is not where they came from. So you can offload some of the CPU effort involved with running CheckDB and the locking and all that goes along with it, as well as testing your backups to make sure they actually restore, which is something you should be doing anyway. In my experience, most people talk about that a lot, but don't do it a great deal. So that's what we're going to do. And without further ado, quick intro, DBATools, you can find them at DBATools.io. And there's 567 plus commandlets there, or commands. They're based on PowerShell, and you do not need to know PowerShell to run them. They're any more than you need to know how a fuel injector works in order to drive a car. So that was my big hang up on using them initially. Don't let it be yours. So with that said, first thing to know is DBATools.io. Every command they have, here's the main page, but every command they have is very well documented. Just go to commands, and in this case, you don't necessarily are going to know this right off the top, but you can see everything is categorized here. What I did, I had somebody tell me that this is the commandlet I wanted to use for this process. Now, there's a link in the comments under this video to a blog post where I detail a lot of this, and I have a lot of these links already, so don't worry so much about typing all these things down or pausing and whatnot. Just get the gist of it, go check the blog post, and you can click all over the place there. And click on Andy Levy and give him some love. Go to his blog as well. He's the guy that got me started and helped me out getting this process done. Gave me little nuggets as I needed to get to what I needed. This whole thing was a proof of concept for one of my clients, and we even joked around that this will make a great blog post, and I said, yep, and a video too. So this is that video. Anyway, this test DBA last backup command, the short version of what it does is you tell it where you want to do your restores to. You tell it what instance you want it to come from. It restores those databases with a unique name. Once they're restored to optionally as far up as the most recent log file that SQL Server can find, or that the command can find, it does a full restore, brings it online, runs CheckDB on it, reports out success or error, and then drops the database. You have a lot of parameters you can change, and here's a whole bunch of them right here. So you can do a lot of changing around on that to customize it to what you need. So just wanted to show you this test DBA last backup. All right, let's get rid of that. And I'll take you over to PowerShell. I'm not going to teach you how to set up PowerShell for your environment. If you've never used it before, there's some stuff you need to do to get your profile ready and to get the DBATools module installed and imported. But in its basic configuration, this will do everything I just talked about for one instance of SQL Server. The simplest parameters, here's the command, here's where I'm going to restore to. That's not going to work because I just dragged some stuff around. This is where I'm going to restore to. The KPH precision simply means Kevin Hill laptop because it's my laptop. And I've got a 2019, a 2017, and a 2016 instance installed. I've got backups on the 2017 that I want to test them on the 2019. So this is my source, this is my destination, and very simply, now I'm running this with the run selection here because I have some other script in there. I don't want to run it all at once. So you'll see that here in a little bit. So if I very simply just run this one, boom, it's running. There's small databases that are going by very quickly. But what you're going to see is because I didn't specify anything else other than source and destination, it skipped over my master database, skipped my model, skipped MSDB, and went straight to a database I have called XEdemo. Now, the restore was a success, and the DBCC CheckDB, it successfully ran the check, and it found that that database is corrupt. And that's what I wanted it to find because I intentionally went and corrupted that database. Check the blog post for a link on how you can do that. And don't ever do that in a production environment. If you do, it's not my fault. It's yours. So enough said. So it ran very quickly because this is an exceptionally small database. This XEdemo has a couple of rows in it. If that, it may just be a structure. So that's the very basic. If I had 20 databases on there, it would have gone through them one by one. Restore, check it, restore, check it. Actually, restore, check it, drop it, restore, check it, drop it. So going a little bit further, I added a couple of parameters here. Actually, I changed the source. I'm going to my 2016 instance, and I'm going to show you these things here in a minute. I want to ignore any log backups. So basically just give me the last full and last differential. Restore those, then run CheckDB. That's an option. And I want you to skip the system databases. Since you're going to skip them anyway, don't even look at them. I've got a Stack Overflow database on here. I don't want you to do that because that's 30 some odd gigs and that would take way too long for a video. And just for fun, don't do that one either. I've got a VLF1 and a VLF2 that I'm using for a completely different demo of something. So you'll see, because this VLF is the VLF1 has a little bit of size to it, you're going to actually see some restore commands on the screen. And yes, I'm going to show you how to do all this automated in a job here in a little bit. So let's run just this bit here. And it pops up the command there, and here's that restore I was talking about for the VLF1 database. Because it started restoring that fast, you know it didn't copy this database backup file anywhere. It's doing a straight restore. So if you've got a really slow network between where your file is and where your destination is, that's something to take into consideration. If you've got a 500 gig database or 3 terabyte database, that's going to take a long time over a slow network. It may take a long time over a fast network. Be careful. That's all I got to say about that. So that brief moment it wasn't doing anything, that was the CheckDB. So it's already run through all the databases on my 2016. Here's the starting point. VLF1, come on, quit jumping on me. VLF1 database, perfectly clean. Nothing in the DBCC result other than success, which is what I want. Same thing for the DBA database. Same thing for XEdemo on my 2016 instance. My 2017 one, that's the corrupt one of the XEdemo. So this one reported success because that was the source for the one that I corrupted. Makes perfect sense. All right. This is 2 lines of code. Technically, it's all one. I just wrapped it around here using the wraparound. And for all you PowerShell guys, I know there's a much better way to format all this and make it prettier. But if you know me at all, you know I'm not the format and make it pretty kind of guy. All right, so let's change that so it looks identical to the other one. I'm adding 2 more lines here. All I'm doing is taking the results of this, using the pipe character, sending it into select object to get these 5 things. Basically these 5 columns, if you will, because I'm going to shove them into a SQL Server table. So I can then do whatever I need to with that information. Historically, I can review stuff, I can write some code, create a job to scrape that, have something else pick it up, whatever. I have the results of this process logged in a table for future action. So it's selecting these objects from this result set and then writing them into a table on my 2019, sorry about the scrolling there, on my 2019 instance, DBA database, DBO schema, and this is the name of my table, and it just happens to exactly match the command line. So you're not going to see a lot here. You may see some, but it's going to be shoving everything into my table, which right now it has some rows in it. So I'm going to go ahead and truncate that just for, no, I'm not actually, because I already have some stuff in there. But these are my 3 instances I was talking about. Source, source, destination. This DBA database is where I'm putting things, the results of this effort, into this table. Just out of curiosity, how many times have I run this setting up the test? There are no rows in there. Okay, cool. This is the first time I'm running it for you guys since I last truncated it. Let's just get rid of that. And we can see there's nothing in the table, which we already knew. So let's go back over here. This is going to do 2 instances this time, and that's different from the previous demo where I had either 2017 or 2016. Now I've got them both with a comma just to separate, give me multiple instances. If I've got, 3 or 4, this works. If I've got 400, this gets really cumbersome and there's better ways to do it. You could have this command for each one. You could use make a text file that's got all your instances listed and loop through them. But for basic simplicity of understanding how this works and working with it in the simplest manner, that's why I went with this comma here, and to show it to my customer earlier the other day. So all the same stuff, take the results, grab these 5 properties, which correspond to the things down here, by the way. If you're wondering what that select object is, the property of source server is here, database is here, etc., etc., and I'm dumping those into matching column names in this table right here. So let's grab all that, see if I can eventually get this to quit scrolling so much on me. And we'll run it. And there's the top of it. I'll probably still scroll. Okay, so we are going to see some of this, but it is going to put information into the table I told you about. This is going to be the longest one of the bunch, because again, I'm omitting the Stack Overflow database in the exclude database parameter. It's going to do that. It's going to run a CheckDB. It's going to do that actually twice because it's going through both instances. One will be corrupt and one won't. And it's done. Da-da-da-da. But there's the command. There's the done. It didn't send all of this information to the window. It sent it into the table. So if I go back over here and run this just wide open, there's the 4 databases. One of them from the 2017 instance, which is the source server from the commandlet. These were all run at approximately the same time. This is the one that had the corruption in it. All that information about all the different tables and system tables and that you get when you run DBCC CheckDB, that's what's in this field. So what you would be looking for if you're running this against multiple instances or every day and you have some code set up to look at this table, you want to see things where both of these are not success. So this one is what I would flag. So if I go run this over and over, I'm going to get 4 more rows every single time I do it. So once you've got this in a table, as long as you don't delete this database or this table or anything goofy like, truncating it, this is here for whatever monitoring tool or process you want to jump in and pick that information up and then email it to your DBA team. I don't know, maybe Splunk or SCOM or something like that can pick up this kind of information or be taught to. But it's here, but then it's your job to go figure out why the restore failed or what to do with the database that reported corruption. And that's in a completely different video that I'm probably never going to do. Restore maybe, but never how to deal with a CheckDB. You don't learn that off of just one video. Go read something from Ozar or something like that. A couple of things that I was going to mention and I've completely forgotten. You can do these things to where you can add, let's see. If you just want to occasionally do it, not always do CheckDB, you can add a no check parameter in there. If you want to leave the databases in place, you can add no drop. All these choices are in that web page that I had you on. All these parameters are in here. You can do verify onlys. You can only, pick it up if it was a copy only database. By default, it's going to pick up the actual last full backup that was not copy only. So the live one that you would be restoring from is the goal there. All kinds of stuff you can do. And then, of course, the common parameters that are there for all PowerShell commands, they're available here as well. Now, again, you pros for DBATools and PowerShell guys, don't at me, bro. There's a lot of formatting that can be done to make it pretty. A lot of things that can be done to make it work better. The one last thing I want to show you, and this is, again, there's better ways to do this, but for a quick and dirty proof of concept, I had that PowerShell file saved, and I've got a job here that very simply does not use, in the one step I've got, it does not use PowerShell as the step type. It's got operating system, because PowerShell is a choice, but I'm told it really doesn't work all that well, and DBATools has also got a document on that. So I've used operating system command, just calling PowerShell.exe and the file. Everything from here on is just the path to the file name. So it just runs that PowerShell file, and it works really, really well. So, that's how you get this thing to happen automatically. If you want to run that at midnight every night or 3 a.m. or whatever, to have last night's backups get checked, and then you've got an email waiting for you when you get to your desk, or right now working from home for almost everybody. There's a bunch of different ways to set this up. This is what worked well enough for me to show my client, and hopefully it worked well enough that you got something valuable. Go ahead, as always, you can send me an email, hit me up on Twitter at Kevin3NF, or put comments in the video, ask me a question there, give it a thumbs up and share it if you enjoyed this, and hopefully me having my ugly mug down in the corner didn't hurt your feelings too bad. Take care, have a great day.